On March 11, 2025, Greenland witnessed a pivotal moment in its political history as the pro-business party Demokraatit, led by 33-year-old Jens-Frederik Nielsen, achieved an extraordinary electoral leap from 9% to approximately 30% of the vote in parliamentary elections. This significant shift not only transformed Greenland's political landscape but also set the stage for a new era in governance as the nation navigates its path towards greater self-determination and independence from Denmark. Election outcome. The recent elections culminated in Demokraatit securing 29.9% of the votes, marking a remarkable increase from their previous performance of 9.1% 4 years prior. This victory positioned them ahead of the two left-leaning parties that had previously formed the government. Naleraq, a pro-independence party, closely followed Demokraatit with 24.5% of the vote, while the Inuit Ataqatigiit party, which had led the previous government, garnered 21.4%. Rejection of external control. In a decisive move that resonated with many Greenlanders, Jens-Frederik Nielsen firmly rejected former U.S. President Donald Trump's overtures regarding Greenland, asserting the importance of self-determination. He stated, "We don't want to be Americans. No, we don't want to be Danes. We want to be Greenlanders, and we want our own independence in the future." This sentiment reflects a broader desire among Greenlanders to assert their identity and govern their own future free from external influences. Independence path. Greenland's journey toward independence has been ongoing since Denmark recognized its right to self-determination in 2009. While 4 of the 5 main parties in the recent election support independence, they diverge in their approaches and timelines. Demokraatit advocates for a cautious strategy, emphasizing the need for economic self-sufficiency before fully pursuing independence. This pragmatic approach aims to ensure that Greenland can sustain itself and manage its resources effectively before taking significant political steps. Voter sentiment. The election results indicate a notable shift in voter priorities, with many Greenlanders opting to focus on pressing domestic issues such as healthcare and education rather than external geopolitical concerns. Trump's comments regarding Greenland's strategic importance, largely centered around its location and natural resources, did not dominate the electoral discourse, highlighting a preference among voters for addressing immediate practical needs over international drama. Coalition negotiations. Following the election, Demokraatit faces the critical task of coalition building, as their approach to independence will be central to future governance. Jens-Frederik Nielsen indicated a commitment to engaging with other political factions to negotiate a coherent strategy for Greenland's political future. The formation of a coalition government will be essential in addressing the diverse perspectives on independence and governance that exist within the parliament. Geopolitical context. The elections were situated within a broader geopolitical context characterized by heightened international interest in Greenland, especially due to Trump's remarks about the territory's strategic value. Greenland's location, along with its substantial deposits of rare earth minerals, has attracted global attention, particularly from the United States. However, the election narrative diverged from these external pressures, centering instead on the aspirations and concerns of Greenlandic citizens. Timeline of events. 2009, Denmark acknowledges Greenland's right to self-determination. March 11, 2025, parliamentary elections are held, resulting in a surprising victory for Demokraatit. Post-election, Jens-Frederik Nielsen and his party reject foreign control, asserting the rights of Greenlanders to shape their own future. Conclusion. The recent elections in Greenland not only signify a substantial shift in political power but also underscore the complex interplay between local governance aspirations and external geopolitical pressures. The rise of Demokraatit heralds a new chapter in Greenland's political journey, emphasizing self-determination while navigating the challenges posed by international interests. As the nation moves forward, the focus will remain on establishing a stable government that prioritizes the needs of its citizens and paves the way for a future characterized by greater autonomy and independence. The recent parliamentary elections in Greenland have brought about significant changes in the political landscape, particularly with the rise of the pro-business party Demokraatit, which saw its vote share surge from 9% to nearly 30%. This unexpected shift highlights several counterintuitive aspects regarding the motivations and priorities of Greenlandic voters and the broader implications for governance and international relations. 1. Focus on domestic issues over geopolitical concerns. Despite the heightened international interest in Greenland, particularly due to former President Trump's controversial comments on the island, the election campaign did not center around these external pressures. Instead, Greenlandic voters prioritized healthcare, education, and economic self-sufficiency. This indicates a strong desire for local governance and a focus on immediate societal needs rather than succumbing to geopolitical narratives that might suggest a more militarized or strategic approach to governance. 2. A pro-business party championing independence. The success of Demokraatit, a pro-business party that advocates for a gradual path to independence, challenges the common perception that left-leaning parties or those with a more aggressive stance on independence would dominate such a political landscape. Voters seem to have favored a pragmatic approach to independence, emphasizing economic stability over rapid political change. This reflects a nuanced understanding among voters that independence should be pursued in a way that ensures the long-term welfare of Greenlandic citizens. 3. Rejection of external control as a unifying factor. Jens-Frederik Nielsen's emphatic rejection of Trump's overtures regarding American interest in Greenland was a rallying point for voters. This stance against external control, particularly from a figure like Trump, counterintuitively united various factions within Greenland's political sphere, showcasing a collective identity that prioritizes self-determination over foreign intervention. The sentiment that we want to be Greenlanders strongly resonates as a counter-narrative against the dominant external geopolitical discourse. 4. Youth leadership and electorate engagement. The election of 33-year-old Jens-Frederik Nielsen as a prime ministerial candidate represents a generational shift in leadership that may not have been anticipated. His youth and fresh perspective could be appealing to voters who are eager for change and innovation in governance. This generational aspect highlights a growing engagement among younger voters in Greenland who may be more inclined to prioritize their lived experiences over traditional political ideologies. 5. Coalition dynamics in a fragmented political landscape. The election results reflect a fragmented political landscape where multiple parties hold significant shares of the vote, complicating coalition building. While Demokraatit has a clear mandate to lead, it must navigate alliances with other parties that have varying approaches to independence. This counterintuitive complexity suggests that achieving a stable government will require compromises that may not align perfectly with Demokraatit's original platform, thus challenging the notion that a clear electoral victory guarantees a straightforward governance pathway. 6. Historical context of self-determination. The election results come in the context of Greenland's long-standing pursuit of self-determination, formally recognized by Denmark in 2009. However, the approach to achieving independence has shifted from aggressive posturing to a more cautious, economically driven strategy. This presents a counterintuitive evolution in the independence movement, suggesting that voters may prioritize sustainable development over symbolic political victories. In summary, the recent elections in Greenland not only reflect a dramatic political shift but also reveal deeper insights into the motivations and aspirations of Greenlanders. The rise of Demokraatit under Jens-Frederik Nielsen signifies a preference for pragmatic governance focused on domestic concerns, a rejection of external control, and a generational change in leadership. This counterintuitive landscape illustrates how local priorities can diverge from international narratives, emphasizing the importance of self-determination in shaping Greenland's future. The recent parliamentary elections in Greenland have unveiled a significant transformation in the political landscape, particularly with the rise of the pro-business party Demokraatit, which has increased its share of the vote from 9% to approximately 30%. This leap is not only remarkable in terms of party success but also indicative of broader shifts in voter priorities and sentiments regarding self-determination and governance. Significant content overlooked. 1. Voter priorities in domestic issues. A critical aspect that many observers might overlook is the evident shift in voter concern from international geopolitics to domestic issues such as healthcare and education. Jens-Frederik Nielsen, the 33-year-old leader of Demokraatit, emphasized that the campaign focused on these pressing matters rather than external pressures, especially the controversial interest from former U.S. President Donald Trump. This suggests a maturation in Greenlandic political consciousness, where voters prioritize their immediate needs over external geopolitical narratives. The significance here lies in the potential for a more stable and self-reliant governance model that addresses local challenges first before engaging in international dialogues. 2. Rejection of external control. The firm stance taken by Nielsen against Trump's overtures regarding Greenland is notable. His statements rejecting the idea of Greenland becoming an American territory reflect a deeper desire among Greenlanders for true autonomy and self-determination. This rejection is significant because it highlights a collective national identity that prioritizes Greenlandic sovereignty over foreign interests. It also sets a precedent for future governance where external influences, particularly those from powerful nations, may be met with resistance. 3. Gradual independence versus immediate autonomy. The nuanced approach of Demokraatit towards independence, favoring a gradual path to self-sufficiency before full autonomy, is a critical detail that may be overlooked. While many parties support independence, they differ on the timing and methodology. This cautious approach may foster a more sustainable transition to independence, ensuring that Greenland is economically ready to support itself post-independence. The significance of this lies in its potential to avoid the pitfalls faced by other regions that rushed into independence without adequate preparation, which can lead to economic instability. For coalition dynamics and political negotiation, the need for coalition building following the election is another crucial element that may not receive adequate attention. Demokraatit's ability to navigate alliances with other parties, particularly the pro-independence Naleraq Party and the Inuit Ataqatigiit, will shape the future political landscape of Greenland. The dynamics of these negotiations will not only affect domestic policies but also how Greenland approaches its relationship with Denmark and other international powers. The significance here is profound, as coalition politics will determine the pace and nature of Greenland's independence process. 5. International geopolitical context. While the elections occurred amidst heightened international interest in Greenland largely due to Trump's comments on its strategic importance, this geopolitical context was notably absent from the electoral discourse. Voters chose to focus on their internal challenges rather than external pressures. This choice is significant as it demonstrates a collective prioritization of local governance and self-determination over becoming a pawn in international power plays. It indicates a robust political identity that values autonomy and local agency, which could influence how Greenland engages with global powers in the future. Conclusion. The electoral success of Demokraatit and the subsequent rejection of foreign control underscore a transformative moment for Greenland as it navigates its path toward independence. The emphasis on domestic issues over international concerns reflects a mature political identity focused on self-determination and readiness for future governance. As coalition negotiations unfold, the decisions made will be pivotal for Greenland's political trajectory, potentially setting a model for other regions seeking autonomy in an increasingly complex geopolitical landscape. Understanding these subtleties within the election's outcome is crucial for grasping the broader implications for Greenland's future. 1. Election outcome and shift in voter sentiment. The remarkable electoral leap of Demokraatit from 9% to approximately 30% signifies a substantial shift in the political landscape of Greenland. This change is indicative of a broader transformation in voter priorities, with a focus on domestic issues such as healthcare and education rather than external geopolitical influences. The election results highlight a desire among Greenlanders to prioritize local governance and self-determination, reflecting a growing sentiment for independence from Denmark. The support for Demokraatit, which emphasizes a gradual approach to independence, suggests a pragmatic perspective among voters regarding their political future. 2. Rejection of external control in geopolitical context. Jens-Frederik Nielsen's firm rejection of former U.S. President Trump's overtures concerning Greenland underscores a strong desire among Greenlanders for autonomy and self-determination. By asserting that they do not wish to be Americans or Danes but rather Greenlanders, the party's stance resonates with the aspirations of many citizens. This rejection is crucial in the context of international interest in Greenland, particularly regarding its strategic location and natural resources. The absence of these geopolitical concerns in the electoral discourse reflects a prioritization of local issues over external pressures, highlighting the complexity of Greenland's political identity in the face of global attention. 3. Path to independence and coalition negotiations. The trajectory toward independence recognized by Denmark in 2009 remains a significant theme in Greenland's political discussions. Demokraatit's cautious approach, aiming for economic self-sufficiency before pursuing independence, reflects a strategic consideration of the challenges ahead. The need for coalition building post-election is critical, as the party will have to negotiate with other political factions, particularly the pro-independence Naleraq Party. The outcome of these negotiations will shape Greenland's governance and its approach to independence, making it a pivotal moment in the nation's political evolution. For focus on domestic issues in future governance, the election results demonstrate a clear shift in the electorate's focus towards pressing domestic issues rather than external geopolitical narratives. Voter sentiment revealed a desire for stability and practical solutions to everyday concerns such as housing, education, and healthcare. This focus will influence how Demokraatit prioritizes its governance agenda moving forward. As the new government forms and sets its political course, the emphasis on enhancing the quality of life for Greenlanders will likely guide its decision-making, in contrast to being swayed by international dynamics. This internal focus could lead to a more resilient and self-sufficient Greenland, capable of navigating its political aspirations amid external challenges. 1. The rise of the Scottish National Party (SNP). In the 2015 UK general election, the SNP achieved a remarkable surge, winning 56 out of 59 parliamentary seats in Scotland, a significant increase from just 6 seats in the previous election. This shift marked a pivotal moment in Scottish politics, as the SNP, led by Nicola Sturgeon, campaigned on a platform advocating for Scottish independence and increased autonomy from the UK. This dramatic electoral success showcased a growing desire among Scottish voters for self-determination and was a response to dissatisfaction with Westminster politics, similar to how Greenland's recent election reflects a desire for more local governance and independence from Denmark. 2. The Italian referendum on constitutional reform 2016. In December 2016, Italy held a referendum on constitutional reforms proposed by then Prime Minister Matteo Renzi, aimed at streamlining government and reducing the power of the Senate. Renzi's government campaigned heavily for the reforms, but the referendum resulted in a resounding no vote, leading to his resignation. This outcome highlighted a significant shift in public sentiment and a rejection of perceived top-down governance, mirroring how Greenland's recent election signifies a shift towards prioritizing local needs over external geopolitical interests, reflecting a broader trend of nationalism and desire for self-determination. 3. The Brexit referendum 2016. The United Kingdom's referendum on EU membership in June 2016 resulted in a narrow vote to leave the European Union, with 51.9% in favor of Brexit. This decision was largely driven by sentiments of sovereignty, control over immigration, and economic independence. The outcome reshaped the UK political landscape and triggered a profound national debate about identity and governance, paralleling Greenland's recent elections, where a pro-independence party gained significant traction as citizens expressed a desire to focus on local issues and self-governance amidst external pressures, particularly from the US under Trump's administration. The recent electoral success of Demokraatit in Greenland, where the party surged from 9% to approximately 30% of the vote, signals a profound shift in the political dynamics of the region. Under the leadership of Jens-Frederik Nielsen, the party's focus on self-determination and prioritization of domestic issues over external geopolitical interests marks the beginning of a new era in Greenland's governance. This transformation could reshape not just local politics but also the island's relationship with Denmark and global powers. Future outlook for Greenland's political landscape. 1. Continued push for independence. The path to independence from Denmark will remain a central theme in Greenland's political discourse. Given that 4 of the 5 major parties endorse the idea of independence, albeit with differing timelines and strategies, the next few years will likely see intensified discussions surrounding self-determination. Demokraatit's cautious approach may gain traction as the party works to ensure that Greenland achieves economic viability before fully pursuing independence. 2. Economic diversification and development. With a focus on improving healthcare, education, and infrastructure, Demokraatit is poised to implement policies aimed at diversifying Greenland's economy. As the island is rich in natural resources, including rare earth minerals, the government may seek to develop these sectors responsibly. This could lead to increased investment and collaboration with international partners, provided that such engagements align with the aspirations of the Greenlandic people. 3. Coalition politics. The necessity for coalition building will be critical as Demokraatit navigates its newfound power. The party's ability to govern effectively will depend on its partnerships with other political factions, particularly the pro-independence Naleraq Party. The dynamics of these coalitions will influence how Greenland approaches both its internal governance and its external diplomatic relations. 4. Response to geopolitical pressures. Greenland's strategic location and resource wealth will continue to attract international interest, particularly from the United States and China. Demokraatit's firm stance against foreign control, as articulated by Nielsen, suggests that the government will prioritize Greenlandic sovereignty in its international dealings. However, balancing local interests with the demands of global powers could present significant challenges. 5. Social and cultural evolution. As Greenland moves toward greater autonomy, there may be a cultural resurgence emphasizing indigenous Inuit identity. Policies that promote the preservation of cultural heritage and language could foster a stronger sense of national pride and unity among Greenlanders. This cultural renaissance may also influence the political agenda, pushing for inclusive governance that reflects the diverse voices within the community. 6. Environmental stewardship. Climate change is a pressing issue for Greenland, with its melting ice caps and changing ecosystems posing existential threats. As the government focuses on economic development, it will be crucial to integrate environmental sustainability into its policies. This will not only safeguard the natural environment but also align with global movements toward responsible governance in the face of climate change. 7. Youth engagement and leadership. The election of a young leader like Jens-Frederik Nielsen may inspire increased political engagement among Greenland's youth. As younger generations become more involved in governance, there could be a shift toward innovative approaches to traditional issues. This generational change may also foster a more progressive political agenda, addressing contemporary challenges such as climate change and social inequality. 8. Healthcare and education reform. With healthcare and education being central to Demokraatit's platform, significant reforms in these areas are anticipated. Improvements in healthcare services and educational opportunities could enhance quality of life and foster a more skilled workforce, crucial for economic independence. The success of these reforms will be closely monitored by the electorate, influencing future electoral outcomes. Conclusion. The rise of Demokraatit and the electoral shift in Greenland represent a pivotal moment in the island's history. As the new government embarks on its mission to navigate the complexities of independence, economic development, and social progress, the focus will undoubtedly remain on empowering the Greenlandic people. The interplay between local aspirations and external pressures will shape the future political landscape, making Greenland a key player in the Arctic region and beyond. The coming years will test the resilience and adaptability of Greenland's governance as it strives to balance tradition with progress in an increasingly interconnected world.